you talked about a lot about how Temescal, the things that they've done, conversations that you have all had.
Yeah.
I always said that beer, like we're doing right now, is a social type of thing. It's not a hard alcohol. It's not something where you take a couple of shots and next thing you know, you tipsy, you faded, and what have you. But do you feel that the breweries, especially with the time that we're in now with COVID, when you do have a chance, like the space you have here, you're very open. You have most of your stuff is outdoor. You have a very small indoor space. Do you feel that this could be a focal point for a lot of the breweries' willingness to, if they're willing to do so, to where you can have those conversations like you did with the panel, but not try to structure where it has to be some big event, but just invite everybody from the block, everybody from the neighborhood to come in, taste a beer, and to have a conversation?
Absolutely. I play that role in general. You know, if I'm having a problem with the coworker, I don't go to my management, pull them aside. Before work starts, we have a beer, we talk about it. So that tool can be used across the board. When it comes to the conversation about race, though, there is a lot of guilt, a lot of fragility, and people oftentimes don't want to have those conversations, or they want to have those conversations amongst people who look like them, so that way they feel safer, right? Yeah.
And vice versa for us too, as black folks.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, I'm biracial, so like young Josh, I had like, you know, visited my family in Oakland, in Vallejo, and then had Thanksgiving dinner in Vacaville with my white family. You know what I'm saying? So I always had that balance and had family where I could, you know, talk to them.
I got you.
And be like, this is what I go through, you know? That's still a tough conversation for people to have because there's so much guilt, right? I know someone who's like constantly trying to push for extra charity events, not at this brewery, she works in tech because she feels so guilty about living in a black neighborhood, right? So, yeah.
No, it's just, and I think for a lot of like black brewers, because again, 60 of the thousands, 8,000 breweries are owned by African Americans or black folks. It's just, I think that conversation is something that even myself, like a lot of times in this podcast, I don't stray away from it like when I'm off mic, but a lot of times on mic, it's like I told myself I'm always be inclusive, but I'm never going to run away from it. And I think a lot of times when I critique our people, because I am, you know, being black, you grow up, when you wake up, this is the color that your skin, this is what you are.
Absolutely.
But the thing that I think I get is that it's like when you've had oppression and you've been taught that by, even if you haven't physically went through it, mentally, when you walk into a brewery, again, like you said, majority of the breweries ran by white men. Majority of white people come to a brewery. When you walk into a brewery, you know the environment that you're going into. But I think what you're saying as far as a person is you put more people on the staff that look like the entire surrounding area, then you're able to not necessarily make a person feel comfortable, but just in the sense of like, hey, it's more than just white people that you'll see. But I think sometimes we walk into a brewery, and especially a brewery, because we're talking about beer, and it's like, well, I don't see anybody like me. And I was like, I get that. And you're probably majority of the times you're not. I mean, I'm talking about going Sacramento, Auburn, Auburn and all back like that. I'm not about to be seeing, no, let me not say that. You might see some black folks, but at the end of the day, it's like it's the enjoyment of the beer and being able to have that conversation. Like you mentioned with you and your coworker, if y'all have an issue, I think that's the thing that we have to do when we walk into a brewery. It's like, yeah, you already knew, you know, you black, hands down, but you want to enjoy the beer. And if you want to start that conversation, then have that conversation. If not, then it's something else that you need to think about or do on the other end. And I don't want that to be our responsibility, but I'm just throwing it out there.
It's not our responsibility, but to backtrack on everything you said, like as far as like having people that look like you when you come in, you're going to feel better about, right?
Got it.
Then what a lot of breweries need to understand is that you have to include people of color into the process of hiring people of color, right?
Got you.
This is
structure.
This like straight up. And, you know, this was a huge discussion at Fresh Fest.
Yeah.
We talked about was that oftentimes the people of color that are being hired are sometimes people of color that white people feel comfortable around. And I'm not saying that those people are less black.
No,
not at all. But like if there's like a black dude who wears Patagonia and like listens to indie bands from Portland, and I'm going through his social media, oh, this guy likes to fish, he likes to camp, he's like me. I feel comfortable around him, right? That is one of the things that I often see of people of color working at craft breweries. I don't see people like from the hood working. It's like, how does that happen? How do you open up a business in a city that's historically black, whether it's Los Angeles, whether it's Oakland, whether it's Richmond? How does that happen? How do you not hire anyone that is from there, that's from the hood? I don't care if you're from Acorn, Campbell Village, Seven Deuce. It blows my mind.
I got you.
So there not only needs to be like people of color that need to be hired, but like not necessarily like the guy that you would hang out with. Like I wear Jordans in a polo. You know what I'm saying? Like I wear 2 chains on my neck. You know? There is definitely like a stigma of the way people interpret black people, especially black men. And in order for us to move forward, then we all need to be included.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? Like straight up.
And like I said, it's not our responsibility, but again, being a podcaster and still working on getting all those subscribers. Thank you all for subscribing for sure. and joining. But it's just, you walk into that room and I already know that's like, it's just what it is. But I'm so focused on, for me. Yeah. And again, I'm a podcaster. I'm not in the business. So when you're in a business, totally different thing. When you're looking to make capital off of something that people enjoy a lot, then it's a total different conversation. You're looked at a total different way. You as a brand ambassador, you're doing marketing and things, but T.O., Benny, Chaz, Mario, and all the other black brewers, it's like, well, you're coming into the space and you're looking to, even though we're a community, you're still going to bring a flavor to that in particular industry that may or may not either coincide with the people there, or it may take away from the people there because you're doing something different. So, I mean, I get it.
And that's why I'm also behind the bar still, because I've oftentimes like thought about different jobs, going somewhere else. I've been since the Hella Halftones event, like I've turned down jobs, like diversity roles at like tech companies, and I'm like, no, I ain't doing that. I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be your token guy. For me, it's so important whether I'm like doing like some brand ambassador work or helping out in different roles, to be behind the bar. So that way, when people of color or people in general come behind the bar and they see a black dude, 2 chains, got my hat on, my Jordans on, but like, I'm doing my job. I know just as much as the white dude in his flannel and his beard. And I think it's important for people to see like someone authentic from the hood, from the neighborhood that grew up here. You know what I mean? Like that's super important for people to feel welcome. Like so many people have come up to me or DM me like, man, I love seeing you behind the bar. I feel so welcome because I feel like I know you. Like you're my cousin. You're my brother. You know what I mean? We all know the same people. My first day on the job here, my cousin Travis from Oakland, I haven't seen him in years. He was here. I'm like, cuz, what are you doing here? He's like, oh, man, I'm so glad you working here, man. He's looking around. He's like, brother.
I got you. No, it's a feeling, and I throw it out there because I got to get that. I got to get that from you. I got to get people to the uncomfortability that we talk about. Like, it's great to see us and we want to, so you feel welcome. At the same time, if you don't venture out into the space that we are not typically in, then we never will be able to go to those spaces. And that's why I like what you're doing, what T.O.'s doing, what Benny's doing, what Hella Coastal's doing, with all the black brewers who are just like, we're in this space and we're here. And it's great. And at the same time, you get to collab with people like breweries like Temescal, Oakland United, Dave McLean, Admiral Malton, which you probably use some Admiral Malton here, but it's just good times, man. And I like where it's going. That's what I'm saying. It's convoluted. It's not easy, and it's chaotic at the same time because so much change is happening so fast, and that's what I enjoy. And I love that the brewery industry, just like every other industry, you're gonna have to accept this because we spend the most money. But when we like beer, we make things even better.
We make everything better. make food better. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but,
let's
and
be
not
real.
better is like other people can't cook it, but just better in the sense of like we put something on because people look at us
man.
exactly.
It's the soul.
Yeah,
you know?
It's a joy.
It's the soul.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, man, Diggs.
Yes, sir.
We didn't drink a lot of the beer. I mean, we only had.
I
like,
did.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm saying like the amount of beer, the release that just came out, the pills, and I forgot the other one that just dropped.
Yeah.
I really want to talk with Ryan, sit down with him. So we'll probably have a whole different conversation because we're probably going to be more focused on drinking a beer. But I had to sit down with you, man. I had to talk to you. Had to get your perspective. You know, I didn't hit all the questions I wanted to, but
it's all right. We can do a follow up.
Oh yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. And that time we can sit. I think we can sit down more. Like maybe like a round table. I'm gonna get the adapter where I can have 5 people interviewed at one time, and we can have a round table discussion, especially on like how to approach it as Black folks continually going through it, because that discussion is happening with T.O. They actually putting in the work and going hard. Him and Benny just getting to the money, but then also like how to disperse it and how to keep people when things go bad to where you just don't quit and you just keep it moving, especially in the beer world. Because you know I asked this question to Chaz and Mario. Was like, you know, I think a lot of people look at Black people and think we're just like a lifestyle brand. You know, it's like we just come in here and we make things popular, but we don't put the work in. And I was like, that's not who we are. We put in the work, but I think a lot of brewers may look at Black brewers like that because of the way we promote ourselves on social media when we have conversation. We're very vocal. You speak it into existence, it happened, right? So that's just what we do.
I had to make a whole separate Instagram account, you know what I mean? And it was Tio that told me like, nah, man, like, you know, where's your crowd at? I'm like, oh, it's on the one that's like ratchet.
Right.
But it's like also not just ratchet, it's about beer, it's about health. And then I have one that's just all beer and me on the river drinking beer. You know what I mean? He's like, man, be authentic. So
always gotta be. That's the key word right there. Authenticity.
Yeah.
Diggs, it's a pleasure. We're gonna sip some of this. This Black is Beautiful. But we're gonna put that on the side.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, that ain't Temescal's, but you know
our friends at Alvarado Street.
Okay.
They were part of the Black is Beautiful, and this is one of my favorites. A little heavy, 12.5%.
Oh yeah, we can't wait, man. We're gonna
shout out to our friends at Alvarado Street for being part of it, and one of the people early on that made a statement about the mistreatment of people of color. So much love to them.
Shout out Alvarado. We're gonna drink this off camera. Yeah. Beer Talk Now community is D Neal. Man, check us out on everything. Instagram, Facebook. I ain't got nothing on there. I just started the channel. Facebook, Twitter. I ain't tweeted nothing, but my boy got me to do that. Again, YouTube channel coming soon. I keep saying it, but it is going to happen. Speaking of existence, it will, and just got to make it work. Diggs, I appreciate you. Check us out every Thursday. IGTV, always interviewing a brewer. Ryan, can't wait to interview you. And Beer Talk Now community, I will check you out on the next episode of Beer Talk Now.
Cheers.
Cheers.